Welcome back to the Let's Pivot podcast. Today I'm joined by Keith Dvorchik, a longtime nonprofit leader, change agent with over 25 years of experience leading major organizations. Keith has served as CEO of University of Florida and Jewish Federation of Greater Seattle. He has led major campaigns, mergers, and community initiatives. So, Keith, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got started?
Sure. So I have an interesting background. I actually have an undergraduate degree in accounting and a master's degree in counseling. So left and right brain. Most people are one or the other. I had both and have been able to utilize that throughout my career. And I reached a point where there was an opportunity to go to work for a nonprofit doing things that had an opportunity to change the world. And I thought to myself, it'd be pretty cool to do that for a while. I had no idea that it would turn out to be an entire career. I just thought it would be pretty cool to do something to help change the world for a little while. And what I found is that it's a good way to make a living, but even more so, it's a great way to wake up every day. It's a great way to know that you're making a difference in the world and people's lives, and that the things that you do have a major impact. In the days when I worked in public accounting, you measured success by how many files you moved from the left of your desk, which was to be worked on, to the right of your desk, which meant you completed the file. And it really wasn't very rewarding, personally meaningful. And for the last now more than 27 years, coming up on 28 years, I've had the ability to know that the things that I do make a difference in the world. It makes a difference in the lives of people locally, statewide, nationally, internationally. And it's not that I'm solving all the problems of the world. I'm not, but I'm doing my part to make the world a better place.
Okay. That definitely can use a lot of making the world a better place. There's a lot to go around there. So, why did you decide to start Amplify Partners? Why did you decide to go out on your own, basically?
So, one of the co-founders of Amplify Partners is a longtime friend, and we had talked about me joining his consulting firm for probably 15 years, maybe more, before I actually did. And I'd reached a point in my career where I'd run organizations for 25 years, and I knew I wanted to do something different. And as I began to explore what the next phase of my career, the next phase of my life would be, I wanted to do something that was meaningful. I wanted to do something that I could wake up every morning and be excited about the work that I got to do. And what I discovered is that moving into the consulting world would allow me to do that. It would let me work with the people who are changing the world. They're the ones doing the actual hard work to make the difference. I get to help them. I get to be a resource for them so that they can do the work that they want better. And it really has allowed me to wake up every day excited about the work I get to do, because it's never boring. It's never the same. I find that every day there's new challenges, and I'm excited to take them on because of the work of my clients.
Now, let me ask you then, what is the most challenging part of owning a business, negotiating, not just helping people, but all the other things that come from a entrepreneurship business side?
So when you work for somebody else, you know you're getting a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks. You know how much it's going to be, and you just go and do the work, and you don't have to worry about the money that's going to be coming in. When you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, you're responsible for that revenue generation. You're the one who has to go out and make the sales. You're the one that has to continuously provide value. And so the amount of money that you make is entirely dependent on the value that you're providing to your customers and the ability to make those sales. So that's the biggest challenge is how do you promote yourself? How do you show your value? How do you continuously be worth the money that clients are paying you? Because otherwise they won't. And your income depends entirely on your ability to provide that value and to make those sales.
What have you done what do you do that works well to make that happen?
So I think the most important thing is that you start with your reputation. So when you come into this type of business, I have 25 years of experience. I have 25 years of showing what I can do. And so people know that. They've seen it. They see the track record. So they know when they look at it what they're going to get. And then you have to constantly deliver on it. And what ends up, at least what's happened for me, is word of mouth about who to use includes me. And I have an opportunity to talk to people about what I can do to help them and see if we can find something that makes sense for both of us. One of the things that's important to me is it's not just about making a sale to a client and getting to work with them. It has to be the right client for me, and I have to be the right type of person to provide the service to them. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just not the right one for them, and that's okay.
Okay. And do you have plans to grow bigger, to be able to help more people? What do those growth plans look like?
So we're in the middle right now of a strategic planning process to really focus on what are the key areas of opportunity, what are the key areas of need. Actual fundraising help is always in need, so that's one of the core. Strategic planning is another one where people are really asking, this is where we are, we don't know where we want to go, or we know where we want to go. How are we going to get there? And so helping them with that. And then there's a lot of people in the philanthropy world who give, but don't necessarily give strategically. And so really beginning to work with those people who they may not call themselves philanthropists, they may think of themselves as donors. I want to help them change the way they think of themselves and think of themselves as philanthropy and ask themselves the hard questions. What is it that you want to accomplish? Do you want to go wide? Do you want to go deep? What are the things that really matter to you? How do we set things up so that you're creating the impact that you want to with your philanthropic dollars, no matter how many dollars they are? So sometimes people think, I don't have enough. And you'd be surprised with how much money people have and how much money people are giving. They're giving 6 figures or more a year away, and they think, I don't really give away that much. I don't really have that much. I'm not really a philanthropist, because they measure themselves against Bill Gates. If you're giving 6 figures away, you're a philanthropist. In many cases, if you're giving 5 figures away, you're still a philanthropist. And how you choose to do that really should be intentional. It really should be something that's thought through, that's focused in an area that's meaningful to you. And that's an area that we're expanding into because it is so important.
And let me ask you, how do you see technology changing or playing a part in that? 25 years in the business. I mean, I was just getting out of high school back then. Computers were barely a thing, right?
When I started, we shared our internet dial-up line with the fax machine. So if you wanted to get on the internet, you had to unplug the fax, and only one person could be on the internet at a time. And I remember when we got a splitter so that 2 people could be on the internet at the same time, and what a big deal that was. Technology has changed a tremendous amount. The way people give, the research that they can do is on different organizations wasn't possible 25 years ago. 25 years ago, if you wanted to look at an organization's financials, it wasn't easy to find. If you wanted to look for their 990, it wasn't easy to find. I can find a 990 of any organization in the United States literally in seconds now. I can look and see where they're spending their money, how they're spending their money, what things look like. What's their mission? What are they trying to do? And with the advent of AI, that's yet another way. And as AI continues to expand and people get used to using it more, it's an incredible resource. It will never replace people. It's a great way to get a head start on things. It's a great way to frame things. It's a great way to ask the type of questions that you want to get things started to frame the work that you want to do. So technology is a big, big deal when it comes to philanthropy, when it comes to the nonprofit world.
And are you seeing anybody use automations for things like email campaigns and nurture sequences, follow-ups?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the automation that can be set up now where based on a potential donor's interactions, there's an automated response that goes to them via email, via text, things like that. There's a lot of really fascinating things in technology that allow you to reach out to your donors in a much more cohesive, much more planful way that doesn't disturb them the old way it would, yet gives them what they're looking for. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're sitting there pushing the phone number to call and have long conversations with each and every one of them. There's a lot of automation that can communicate the information to them and then give those who want to have the conversation the opportunity to have that conversation. There's a lot of stuff with automation when it comes to giving, particularly with monthly giving. One of my favorite stories goes back a number of years ago. One of my board members, when we were talking about monthly giving, said, I watch public television pretty regularly. And I got a phone call during their campaign. They said, would you be willing to give $100 to public television? And I thought, and I said, I like public television, but no, I don't want to give $100 to it. They said, well, would you give $75? And he said, no, I don't think I want to do that. And they said, well, would you just consider doing $10 a month? And he said, yeah, I can do $10 a month. He said it wasn't until after he hung up the phone that he realized he said no to 100, and he actually gave them 120, because $10 a month is much easier to think about. It's a much smaller bite and a much smaller ask. And what we see with things like monthly giving is the increase levels are significantly higher from a percentage point of view than when people are just writing a single check. So somebody who's giving $10 a month, if you steward them right, the next year, would you consider giving $15 a month? And they think $5 a month? Yeah, this has been good. I'll give $15 a month. Well, you just got a 50% increase. And it makes it easier for the donor. You still have the stewardship responsibility in order to keep them, but it's a great way to grow donors.
Okay, I like it. And are you currently using any automations for, not that you're recommending for donors, but for managing your clients? Have you automated any of that stuff?
So a lot of the work we do with our clients is not automated. I mean, there's certain pieces that we're moving into automation for, but so much of it is that personal connection with our clients. It's being able to hear what it is they need. We do use AI, and work with our clients because it really is beneficial and lets us do more for them at a better price point. And there's a variety of other smaller things that we do running the business. But the bigger thing that we're working with a variety of clients with is some automation in terms of how they're connecting with their client, with their donors, because that's where we can help them set up the right systems so that it'll save them time and save them money, and it'll make their donors happier as well.
What's the biggest bottleneck that you see right now? Most common, biggest bottleneck to growth?
So right now, the biggest challenge is the world that we live in. The number of needs that exist in today's world is really overwhelming. And so when you're talking with potential clients, laying out what the playing field really looks like and helping them to understand what the playing field really looks like is critical. And it's also a challenge. There are lots of people right now who used to give to a lot of different things, and now are saying, with some of the changes in the federal funding and in the state funding all around the country, I need to give more locally. The organizations that I'm most passionate about need me more now, which means I'm not taking anything new on, or I can't increase what I've been giving to you because all my increases need to go in a different direction. And that's one of the biggest challenges, is that the needs right now are so great. And there's so many nonprofits out there doing incredible work, and they need our help, they need our support. And there's only so many donors, there's only so many dollars, and you're never going to be everybody's top choice.
Right. So, Keith, what's the one piece of advice that you would give somebody new, starting out, trying to decide which way to go? What advice do you have for them?
So I think there's a couple things. The first is that, really ask yourself, do you want to be a solo practitioner, or do you want to be part of a group? That was one of the things that I asked myself before I made a decision. And I knew I did not want to be on my own. I didn't want to hang out my own shingle. I like having partners. I like having colleagues. I like having people that I can bounce things off of and work with. And so that's why I chose to join Amplify, because of the people that I get to work with and partner with. So that was an important thing for me. I know lots of other people want to open their own and want the freedom that comes with being all by yourself. So individuals have to decide which way they want to go there. I think the other thing is to have realistic expectations. When you're just starting out, you're not going to start out with tons of business. you've got to work. You've got to work hard to get business, to keep business, and to keep your name going. And then the third thing is understand what are your values and what it is that matter to you. So for me, it's really important that I like the people that I work with. And so if I don't like the people that want to work with me, I'm not the right person to work with them. It's important for me that I be passionate about the work of the potential client. Not everybody needs that. And so they have to ask themselves, do I want to take any client who comes to me, no matter what the work is that they're doing? Or do I need to get excited by their mission and the way they're trying to address the challenge in order to work with them? I need to be excited about what they're doing. So I could sit and talk for hours about any one or all of the clients that I work with because I'm really that passionate about the work that they're doing. And then the third is keep your integrity. So I will never do things that aren't being done the right way. Doesn't matter if a client wants to do something that doesn't follow best practices and isn't the right way, I'm the wrong person to work with them. And I know that, and I'll tell them. And because at the end of the day, I live with myself and I want to know that I've stood for my values. I've stood for what I believed in. I've stood for best practices. And we all need money to live, but I'm not there to just take their money no matter what it is that they're doing. So I think those are three really key important questions that everybody needs to answer before they go into this. And look, going into this type of work, just like starting any new business, money's not going to be there day one. You got to work hard. And you got to be prepared for sacrifices and having some money to live on while you're building your business. And if you don't have that and you need money in 2 weeks, this may not be the right place for you to go.
You better be really good at selling.
You got to be really passionate about what you're doing. Or you have to be with a group where it's okay that you're doing the work because somebody else is doing the selling. And that's the other advantage of joining a group. Everybody plays different roles. So not all of my partners like business development, are good at business development, or want to do business development. And that's okay. And then there are people like me who like doing business development and enjoy that part of the business. And I get to ask them, hey, will you work on this with me? And they're okay waiting for those of us that are in business development to bring business in to give them the opportunity to work on it.
Okay. That sure is a lot, Keith.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really do love what I get to do. Like I said, I wake up every morning excited for what the day brings because the clients I work with are really doing extraordinary things. They're really working to change people's lives on a daily basis. And I get to have a much greater impact working with them to do the work that they did than I've had with any single organization doing the work that they do.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. There are definitely, like you said, a lot of problems to be solved out there in the world today.
There are, and none of us can solve all of them, and none of us can solve them alone. So that's where I come in, helping the organizations because they've got bigger teams, and the work I do then flows out to thousands of people, which makes me feel good because as one person all by myself, I couldn't do the thousands and tens of thousands of people that are impacted, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of people that are impacted by the work that I do. But because I'm working with these organizations, I get to have impact on hundreds of thousands of people every single day.
Right. Do you have any plans to write any books or training courses, anything like that?
A lot of people have asked me that, and right now, no, but it's in the back of my mind.
Okay. All right. Well, Keith, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
On the podcast. Yeah, of course. Hope you have a great day.
You as well.
Keep in touch. We'll talk to you soon.